Jadedness doing in the text, and I think there, that too can be understood.
Well, he seems to have both messages. On the one hand, he's, for example, pleasure. He says, "I'm so weary of pleasure; it's such an empty experience." But on the other hand, he says, "Eat and drink and be merry." Right, for tomorrow we die. So what is his position on it? Is he saying?
I think that
is he resigned to it, or is he suspicious of these?
Actually, the way I understand it, because I've actually read over parts of this text with 13-year-olds, and surprisingly, they could really appreciate these young kids who really, they seem not to have what kind of troubles can you already have, and they could really appreciate the basic message of the text of, seriously, what is this for? Questions that, older in life, perhaps you might say, well, that's the kind of thing I wondered about when I was younger. Younger people do wonder about even today, and they find great resonance within the text itself. Why, in fact, am I not enjoying this party as much as everyone says I should?
Right, right.
And that's something.
I think that's the beginning of our answer as to why the text is here. I mean, obviously, the Hebrew Bible is full of all kinds of wonderful stories that appeal to all sorts of different human passions, but this is one. I mean, when we are feeling as if nothing will work out for us, as if all the things we strive for won't come to fruition. Actually, this text will appeal to us.
Ironically, this text is actually read on the holiday of Sukkot, which is the happiest of Jewish holidays, the harvest festival, when everything is just going your way. And they throw this text in at you in order to, wait a second, what's it really all about?
Right. Stop us rejoicing too much.
What's really the point of this? And as a matter of fact, the way I understand the text is that what he's actually doing is exploring various lifestyles, seeing what is something worthwhile and what isn't. But then he actually does come to a punchline at the end, which I'm not sure gets as much attention as is necessary. If you look right at the very end of the text.
You mean the very last verse?
The very last verse.
That almost all modern scholars regard as an interpolation. For this exact reason. Contemporary biblical scholars think that this was added later by a redactor attempting to make this text more pious.
I'm not sure why they would say that.
Well,
they would appreciate.
It's a Deus ex machina in a sense, right? It says
forget all that melancholy stuff and follow the Lord. So it says, what does it say? In fact, the end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every deed into judgment with every secret thing, whether good or evil.
Yes, and as I understand what it's pointing out is that really and I think that those people that codified the Torah, they were well aware of the book's basic message, and I can't imagine they would just simply nail something onto the end and make it to religify it. Okay, but forget all that. I think actually what it's saying is that for a person with a religious sentiment, really, what do they have rather than fearing God and observing commandments? Because that is all of man. And that's a succinct summation of people who explore all various ways of doing things. Actually, oftentimes you're left with where you started from.
Well, this also can provide the beginning maybe of an answer to Michael's earlier question. The narrator of the text, Solomon, let's call him, says he tries pleasure, but he gets no satisfaction from carnal pleasures. But then later he says, eat, drink, and be merry. And I think that those two passages are actually reconcilable. What happens in the first passage is that he tries to throw himself into pleasure as if pleasure were the answer, as if pleasure were the purpose that human beings were put on earth for. And of course, all of that turns to dust for him because he finds that this is not why people are put on earth.
And so therefore, you might as well enjoy a good steak. Precisely because that good steak is not the ultimate,
take simple pleasures from the things that are given to you. take pleasure from your toil, find a wife who you can actually love and live with, and enjoy your food and enjoy your drink. These simple things are given to you. What is the mistake, I think, being addressed in the text is to think that human beings can find their own plan or purpose outside of those simple things, right? That wisdom is the real purpose, and that if I just learn everything, and I will leave my mark on the world, I'll change my world, or pleasure is the real purpose, I'm going to throw myself into that. These excesses are being criticized.
I'd have to